I want to go over the issues you might have in interpersonal effectiveness skills when what you're doing isn't working. This is when you can troubleshoot. Lack of skills. You might be ineffective because of a lack of skills. If you don't know how to act or speak effectively to obtain your objective, maintain a relationship, or keep your self-respect, you won't succeed. Beyond being familiar, you need to practice and spend a good amount of time with each skill. It takes discipline and overcoming fear to practice and maintain and master the skills. You may be ineffective if you have an unclear objective. Not knowing what you want out of a situation can make it almost impossible to be effective. You also need to ask clearly for what you want in order to obtain it. Ask yourself first, do I know what I want in this situation? Secondly, make sure that you're clearly asking the question of the other. You might be ineffective because you choose short-term over long-term goals. Short-term goals can interfere with long-term goals. When you're trying to be interpersonally effective, you might impulsively want to fix things in the moment. That can get in the way of what you really want in the long term. This happens when you sacrifice your rights or self-respect to get an immediate result or to reduce distress. It can also happen when you consistently give up getting what you want or need in order to avoid conflict and keep others happy. Emotional mind can also get in the way of your interpersonal effectiveness. Goals should always be determined when you're in wise mind. Your emotions can get in the way if they're very extreme when you're approaching an objective, a relationship, or obtaining your self-respect. You can't get into wise mind. In order to figure out what to do and say, you may make emotional statements that are extreme and ineffective, or run away, which obviously would be an ineffective strategy. If you're on the verge of tears, it may be impossible to communicate. When you're entrenched in your emotions, you get into a skill breakdown point. Stop here. If you keep trying, you may get frustrated and quit learning and doing your skills. When we cover emotional regulation and distress tolerance in the next 2 modules, you're going to learn some skills to deal with high emotional arousal before coming back to your interpersonal effectiveness skills. Assumptions and myths can interfere with your interpersonal effectiveness. You may be afraid of negative outcomes. You may have an assumption or myth about how valuable your opinion or thoughts are, or what kind of trouble they can cause. You might believe that asking for things or saying no is always selfish, or that people should know what you want without having to ask. Challenge myths and check the facts when you're worrying and making assumptions. This applies to myths, worries, and assumptions about the objective and about the other person. Last but not least, and possibly the most frustrating, the environment may be more powerful than your interpersonal effectiveness skills. Assess if you are in the power position or if you will be disempowered either by the environment or the other person.